Hello everyone, welcome to the BIOS Alumni Interview Spotlight. This time I'm Deekshana and I'm a first year biotechnology student. This time we are joined with Elisabete Lopes. Welcome Elisabeth, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah, so why don't you start with giving a little introduction about yourself, your educational background, and your nature of job right now.
Okay. So I have PhD in immunology. Back in Brazil, I got my PhD, but I came to Canada to study biotechnology. So I studied biotechnology, advanced biotechnology at Centennial College in 2020. Yeah, 2020, I finished my program. And in the same year, I got a job in Montreal
Mm-hmm.
in a biotechnology company. And I worked as analyst in my first year. And after I moved to another company, the current company that I'm working right now, it's the same industry,
Mm-hmm.
but I work in preclinical studies and I work as research associate, supporting the scientists and supporting the analysts. Now I have a mid-level position.
Wow, wow. And so as a research associate, what is the nature of a job as a research associate?
So we work for pharmaceutical industries, where the pharmaceutical industries test new drugs. And we are at the beginning of the studies because it's preclinical. So all the drugs are tested in animals.
Mm-hmm.
So we dose the drugs in the animals. If the drug works well in the animals, they go to the next step
Mm-hmm.
in the process of the pharmaceutical industry. They go from preclinical, where I am right now, to clinical. That's another step to test in humans.
Okay.
So basically, here we test the drugs, the components actually of the drugs, and we see the results. We send the results to the clients.
Mm-hmm.
Our clients are the pharmaceutical industries, and they decide what they're going to do with the results. But yeah, basically we just test the components of the drugs that they want to know if the drug will work or not for
Mm-hmm.
the future, because one drug to go to the market takes around 8-9 years. So we are at the beginning, the real beginning of the test. So we do many tests for many industries, a lot of compounds. So like one industry can have 10,000 compounds to test.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of projects going on, and I work supporting the scientists. So usually the scientists, they design the experiment.
Okay.
So I support them, making the calculations, the dilutions, organizing all the documentation.
Mm-hmm.
And the analyst, they do the bench work. They do all the experiments in the laboratory.
Okay.
So
Okay.
after that, I analyze the results. I
Mm-hmm.
analyze the results, I discuss with the scientists what is the next step. So we have many projects. I work in many projects at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting field.
It is really interesting. It sounds really interesting. And like,
Yes.
how did your education at Centennial help you in this field right now?
Oh yeah, help me a lot because I got all the knowledge that I needed to have to be in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I work in a biotechnology industry, so I learned a lot. I don't remember exactly the name of the subject, but I think it was pharmaceutical industry, something like that we had.
Okay.
I learned a lot during this time to be in the industry right now.
Okay, okay. And what skills have you employed the most since graduating that you learned from Centennial?
Yeah, basically how to work in a GLP environment. That's the good laboratory practice.
Yeah.
You need to have these skills, good laboratory practice to work in this industry. So yeah, I learned a lot about GLP rules and regulations to be in the industry.
Mm-hmm. And since you have a doctorate degree, like, do you feel a difference since diploma is more industry based and PhD is more research oriented?
Now it depends because uh, in biotechnology companies, you can be like you can have a PhD and not necessarily work in research.
Mm-hmm.
I don't work in the research right
Oh,
now.
okay.
I
Okay.
work in lab operational, like
Mm-hmm.
like it's like an industry in lab operational. But yeah, but my PhD helped me a lot. So sometimes it's not related to your degree, but
Mm-hmm.
it's related to your skills and what you have to offer to the company. And also you need to go to reach your opportunities,
Okay.
because sometimes you can have a degree, but you are in your comfort zone and you don't go to catch your opportunities.
Yeah.
And in this industry, there are many, many opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. And what are some of the initial challenges that you faced in your career, and how did you overcome that?
It was really challenging at the beginning to understand this industry world, because when you are in the college or at the university, we have this academic world that is
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah.
When you go into the industry, it's a different world. Everything's totally different and it's a real challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have focus and study a lot and learn as much as you can and be a faster learner, because it's a lot of information and totally different than academic world.
Okay. Okay. And looking back, like, is there anything that you would change in your decisions?
No, I don't think so. I think, I I had good decisions. So it was a tough decision actually to move from Toronto to
Mm-hmm.
Montreal,
Yeah.
but I don't regret.
Okay.
It was a tough decision, but it was a right decision. It was complicated because here the language is French,
Yeah.
and they speak English, but they don't like to speak in English. And
Okay.
it was a challenge
Mm-hmm.
as well, because I need to deal with a new language.
Mm-hmm.
But in the industry, it's not that mandatory to
Yeah.
speak
Okay.
French.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying in your daily life, you need French.
Oh,
But
okay.
but in your career, not necessarily. But yeah, it was a tough decision,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a right and good decision.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great to know. And like, since you mentioned about like the academic setting is very different from the work setting, what are some of the things that you wish you learned at school?
What was most sorry?
What are some things that you wished you learned at school about the industry?
Something that I would like to have learned at school about the
No,
industry.
like
Uh,
you mentioned that the industry that is very vastly different from the academic setting, right? So, what are some of the things that you wish you learned at school to prepare you for the market?
okay, yeah, about GLP environment. Because if you're going to a biotechnology industry, especially in the pharmaceutical industry, you need to know exactly what is a good laboratory practice environment.
Okay.
It's really important, I think. You need to be ready and prepared for this new environment
Mm-hmm.
because you have many rules that you need to follow. That's
Yeah.
totally different than,
Okay.
than academic labs and,
Yeah.
in college. Yes.
And it would also vary from lab to lab and the type of environments, or will it be standard?
No, yeah, so it depends of the industry. Like for food industry, I think it's totally different as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's say because yeah, when you are at the college, the labs they are organized for you to learn how to work in a lab,
Mm-hmm.
but not in at the school, but not in the industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's totally different.
Okay.
So, but for who wants to work in biotechnology industry, especially uh, in pharmaceutical industry, needs to know GLP rules.
Mm-hmm.
How is a GLP environment? It's
Yeah.
a good laboratory practice. That's totally different that what we have seen in the academia.
Mm-hmm. And apart from GLPs, are there any other trainings and certificate that you think will help the students beforehand, before getting into a job?
No, not exactly, because for the industry that I work right now, all new analysts will be trained.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be qualified for the
Okay.
technique
Okay.
because they have different techniques. So you don't need any certification, anything, but
Mm-hmm.
you be trained and you need to be qualified.
Okay.
So usually we are qualified during our probation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are qualified, you have your probation approved and you can continue to work.
Yeah. And the first step of getting into qualification is to get the job opportunity, right? Like right
Yes.
now, it is really difficult for many students to find job and find these opportunities. So, what are some of the resources that you would recommend for students in terms of job search and networking?
So LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn was my first source. My first job here I found through LinkedIn.
Okay.
And other positions I found through LinkedIn as well. So
Okay.
LinkedIn is the best source to make connections, to be up to date about what is happening, in the industry. It's the best source and it's a good tool as well.
Yeah. And since you graduated around 2020, it's the beginning of the pandemic as well. So, how did you tackle that challenge in finding jobs?
Oh my God, that time was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. No jobs at all. That's why I moved to Montreal,
Okay.
because at the same time that many positions were on hold
Mm-hmm.
because the pandemic, in other places like here, because here there is a biotechnology center,
Okay.
and because there was this race about the vaccine, COVID
Mm-hmm.
vaccine. Here in the biotechnology center, a lot of companies were hiring people,
Okay.
and
Okay.
that's why I got hired. But my advice is open the mind, be um, mind open, and go explore another places,
Mm-hmm.
because Ontario it's crowded. It would be hard to get a position in Ontario. So just be open minded, and search in another provinces
Mm-hmm.
that you have more chances to be successful in your search. If you're just okay because I'm in Ontario, I'm going to stay here and I don't want to move. I know there are the immigration's implications about it. I understand, but sometimes when we open our mind,
Mm-hmm.
we can find things better in other places. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good point. Be open-minded and don't close your eyes, for other places or other provinces.
Hmm. Yeah. And finally, what are some of the advice that you would give to students who are aspiring as a research associate?
So study a lot,
Okay.
make connections,
Hmm.
attend to conference. When you go to conference, make connections there as well. Connect with people on LinkedIn. It's the best tool ever to make connections. Write people, ask to visit place, ask to have a talk, have a coffee, about know about the industry. Be open if you need to move out to another place.
Yeah. And I know I said this is the final question, but I have one more question. Like you mentioned
Okay.
about the conferences, right? So conferences in the sense like how do you take part in it? Like can students go to conferences like that?
Yes, yes, yes. There are many professional conference that the students can attend, can participate, and that's a good way to make connections, to meet people in person and talk a bit, and also to understand which kind of industry you want to go. It's a good way too.
Hmm. And I just don't understand what a conference is. Like, can you elaborate what a conference?
Ah, like their vaccine conferences,
Okay.
new drugs development conferences, this kind of conferences that you can search, you can find. Usually if you follow companies on LinkedIn, it's a good hint to follow companies on LinkedIn. Usually when they are attending conferences, they post on LinkedIn which conferences there will be, the kind of conference, so you can try to talk to someone over there. Also make connection with recruiters.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good too, because you can maintain connections, and usually they post on LinkedIn when they have positions open.
Yeah. And okay, I promise this is the final question. Like,
Okay.
and I just wanted to ask about the internships, right? So many students go into the lab for internships without the degree per se, right? Just to get the experience and as an intern
Mm-hmm.
without co-op. In that sense, like, do you have any experience or have you met anyone who came to your lab as an intern, a lab associate intern?
So I didn't have the opportunity to to do an internship because my program wasn't called. But
Okay.
I have colleagues that they had the program with called program, and they found jobs after this internship period. I
Mhm.
have a colleague that she was intern during her co-op, and after that she got hired.
Okay.
That's really good too.
Yeah.
That's really important, and that's really good too. If you don't do a co-op, it will be a little bit more complicated, but if you have opportunity to do a co-op, do it, because it will be really good, especially for your CV.
Okay. And can you do an internship without co-op? Like, I don't have co-op in my program, but I wish to do an internship in lab. Like, can I apply?
No, yes. Yeah, so there are companies that they have positions for interns without co-op, but you need to search.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly. I know, oh no, yeah, I know that Sanofi, they have a program. They have an internship program.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I don't know other companies, but you can contact the director. You can contact the director of the company. You can contact managers of the company saying that you have interest in doing an internship.
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a co-op, but you want to do it. The
Yeah.
company that I work for here, they do internship as well. We
Okay.
have some students here. They work in the lab, especially during the summertime, that
Okay.
they do the internship during the summertime full time.
Yeah.
So, during the summertime, you can try to find something. Look, of course, you need to search right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to do an internship during your summertime, if you have a summer break, you
Mm-hmm.
need to do it right now to
Okay.
plan where we are going to do, and when like we are going to start. But if you want to do it next summer, the time to looking for is right now.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
But you can contact directly, the
Mhm.
managers, the directors, and express your interest, send them a cover letter.
Yeah.
You can also get some advice with I forgot the department, because I know there is a department at
Mm-hmm.
Centennial that you can get advice
Yeah.
to working on your CV and writing emails. I requested a lot their help during my job search. It was really, really helpful.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you, and
You're welcome.
thank you for your time.
Okay, no problem. So if you need any help, if you
Yeah.
need any other advice, don't hesitate to contact me.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
yeah. One second.